A very warm welcome to the Biashara Tuesday conversation today. I must say I am profusely sorry that we are starting late because of absolutely unavoidable circumstances. Yet, the conversation we are about to have today is a very important conversation. It's about the conversations around trade and international trade. What are the dynamics of international trade? What is dumping? What do we mean by dumping, trade dumping in international trade? What are the dynamics? What are the bad and unfair practices that if you were to witness, you would report? Who polices unfair trade practices in Kenya? I am here today, ladies and gentlemen, with the gentleman, an astute trade expert who has worked for this wonderful country and ministry for years, now tasked with the onerous duty of setting up the newly created Kenya Trade Remedies Agency. I'm here with Mr. Samuel Chemiso. Yes, nice to meet you, sir, and welcome to Biashara Tuesday Conversation. My profuse apologies for starting, sorry. But just to start us off so that we have a chat for the next maybe 30, 40 minutes. What is Kenya Trade Remedies Agency? No. Before we go there, who are you? Tell us a little bit about your background. Then after that, tell us what is Kenya Trade Remedies Agency? What is its role locally, and who benefits from the good work that you're doing in your newly created organization?
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
My name is Samuel Chemisto. I'm the acting executive director for the newly established Kenya Trade Remedies Agency.
Yes.
I'm a career civil servant.
Yes.
Yes, I've worked in the service for over 20 years.
Wow.
And before I was instructed to go and establish the new agency.
Yes.
I was the head of the multilateral and international trade
division
in the Department of External Trade.
Yes.
So that's where trade remedies are domiciled. So even as now, when we move to establish a fully fledged agency that will be implementing trade remedies, the policy aspect will still remain within international trade. But the agency now will be the key implementing arm, such that we now execute or implement trade remedies in accordance with international law. Yeah. So the policy domain will still remain in the division where I was heading before I moved to establish the Kenya Trade Remedies Agency.
Thank you very much. What is dumping? This thing called dumping. It's one of the most notorious things we have in international trade, and giving clear examples to Kenyans. What is dumping?
Dumping is a technical term. So normally, people don't, if you talk to an ordinary business person,
yes,
they may not understand what it is.
Yes.
Let's take, for example, this bottle of water that we have here.
Yes.
This bottle of water, we produce it in Kenya, Keringet.
Yes.
And then we may have another same bottle of water produced in Kampala.
Yes, like Teko.
So, yeah, so let's say this is in Kampala, it's selling for 10 shillings.
Yes.
And then in Nairobi, you find it's selling for 8 shillings.
Wow, yes.
So
yes,
in the normal course of business,
yes,
this should have cost around 12 to 13 shillings.
Yes.
So, but in Kampala, you buy it at 10 bob. Yes. In Nairobi, you buy it at 8 shillings.
Yes.
So that is when now we say dumping
something is wrong.
Has happened. Something has happened.
Yes.
Because this product is being dumped in Kenya. Because it is not normal for a product to be brought from Kampala. When you buy it in a shop in Kampala, it's costing 10 bob. You come and buy the same product in Nairobi here, it is costing 8 bob.
Wow.
That is not normal. It's in the normal course of business.
Yes.
You are expected to have your margins.
Yes.
You are expected to have taxes.
Yes.
You are expected to have transport costs. So the product, the cost of the product should be slightly higher than in Kampala.
So because I always see Kenyans saying, oh, unajua tulinunua hii kitu, hata yenye imekuja. If you were to go, for example, to Indonesia,
yes,
and you buy a shirt in Indonesia, or you buy an equipment, and the equipment is 10,000 shillings.
Yes.
And when you come to Kenya, that same equipment that was 10,000 in Indonesia is 8,000 shillings.
Yes.
Then something unscrupulous is ongoing, because naturally For it to cost 10,000 in Indonesia, by the time it gets to Kenya, you must have cost of freight,
Yes.
whether sea transport, clear our import taxes. Naturally, it would trade for maybe 15 or 13 shillings thereabout.
Exactly. So if it is $10,000
Yes.
in Indonesia,
Yes.
by the time it arrives in Kenya,
Yeah.
it should be 12, 13
Yes.
US dollars.
Factoring in
Because
all
factoring in
costs.
freight costs,
Yes.
you factor in insurance,
Yes.
factor in the taxes that they are going to pay at the porter, and then also factor in also the margin for the business person.
Okay.
So essentially, it should cost above what we bought it in Indonesia. So if it is selling less than what we bought in Indonesia, then that is when we say technically dumping has happened, because the cost of the product in the country of origin is less than the cost of the product in the country of export.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is now when we say dumping has occurred. And the negative effect of dumping is it eliminates now the possibility of the like product in Kenya being processed and also being sold. Let's say you bought it in Indonesia $10,000, the way you have said. The like producer in Kenya of the same product is selling at 9,000. So now if he's selling at 9,000 with his margin, profit margin in, and now another product is coming in to sell at 8,000. So
you've killed business.
That business is killed. And that's why now we say that business has been killed by dumping. And the effect of dumping is normally to eliminate a competitor in the market. So once the competitor is eliminated, then you can increase your price and recoup now your cost of that product. So it's a kind of a trade war, which is a silent trade war. The intention is to eliminate the producer of a like product in the country of export. So once you eliminate that producer, of course you take over the market. And now you can increase the price to whatever level you want and adjust and recoup. But now as governments,
Yes.
this producer of a like product in Kenya is very important for us, because one thing, it employs people. Two, it pays tax to government. And secondly, it also generates revenue for this. It's an investment. So as an investment for us, we just cannot afford to see that investment go to closure and close because of the consequent effect to the economy, unemployment, loss of income, loss of revenue. So as a government, it has a duty to protect that industry. And now, it can only protect it according to the international law. And that's why the international law, which is provided by the World Trade Organization, provides that we engage in free trade, liberalized economic trade. And in the event that you have a manufacturer in your territory who is injured by an import from another territory through unfair means, then you have resort to these international instruments which you have been provided for within international treaty to defend yourself. So now what the government have to do is, once you establish that there's dumping, and you of course you get, first of all is you get the complaint from the manufacturer that, hey, we have a problem here. We have competition from a product which we believe it is being dumped in this country, and the product is coming from region A. So once we receive that kind of complaint now with KETRA from the manufacturer of the like product, what we do is we verify. So once we verify now that the complaint from the industry, we give them a form to fill, so that they give us the details of what the product is, where it is coming from, who is producing it, what is the price, how it has affected them. So now once we do, what we do now is we investigate to verify the facts. We now investigate whether truly there is dumping. So when they establish that there is dumping, then what we do is we advise the minister on the corrective action, which the corrective action now is what we called anti-dumping duty, which is imposed on the product. Now the anti-dumping duty is equivalent to the margin of dumping. The margin of dumping is now the difference between dumping and... So we recommend a duty which is equivalent to that margin of dumping. So the effect of that anti-dumping duty is to equate the price and bring the level playing field to the same level, so that now these companies or these products can compete on a fair level field. So we now make the business to be fair. And that's why we say now dumping is an unfair import trade practice, because the playing field for the two producers is not the same. So the government now has to come in, protect this domestic producer through imposition of an anti-dumping duty, which has the effect of increasing the product to a level playing field, and then they can compete on a fair footing.
What happens if by the time someone reports dumping, so much has already been dumped into the country and we are unable to trace as they may have been purchased? I mean, do we go and get records from the port and then charge that anti-dumping taxation or duty even on the ones that had already found their way into the country?
Normally what happens is once we receive the complaint, and now we have to investigate, because this international treaty, it provides an elaborate process of undertaking the investigation, confirming the facts that investigation is there, that dumping is there, and then now you take recourse to the measure. Why that elaborate process is there is to prevent abuse of the process, because and you'll find that even at the moment, if you look at the international trade disputes, they mostly revolve around trade remedies. And they revolve around trade remedies because you look at the history of trade negotiations. Tariffs have come down significantly as a result of subsequent rounds of trade negotiations since 1947. So you'll find that the competitiveness edge between various companies is no longer in the area of tariffs. So what now happens is, because of that competitiveness, the reduced competitiveness, trade remedies become an issue. But the dispute is not on why. Because this dumping or maybe these trade remedies, they are our rights within international law. The dispute is on the how. How have you done the investigation? Have you done it in accordance with the laid down procedure? And then if you have not done, that is now when you can lose the case. But if you have done it properly and you have followed all the laid out procedures, then your case will stand, because it is factual, it is evidence based, and it is now based on facts. So it can stand in a court of law. So that's why we normally have to establish the facts, do a thorough investigation, notify also when you are doing the investigation, because you don't get anybody by surprise. You'll have to notify the country that is producing the product. You also have to notify the companies that they have to do that we are doing investigation. You also notify the WTO, so that they know that Kenya is undertaking an investigation on a certain product which is suspected to be dumped. And now, once you get those facts, you can stand in, and even if that firm disputes, you can present your facts, that these are the facts, we did the investigation, we did this. And of course, if you don't find that there is dumping, then you can advise your firm on other corrective measures that they can take to improve their competitiveness, which now, as an agency, we can share that information with other competent authorities within our jurisdiction to help those firms to see how they can improve their competitiveness.
Brilliant. Essentially then, that dumping kills industries within the importing country.
Yes.
So if someone decides to dump, for example, sugar, that costs 100 shillings a kilo in their countries, but it lands in Kenya at 65 shillings a kilo, what they are doing is to kill industries in Kenya, and so we do not allow it, and so we investigate and then charge the margin of the amounts they've made, if I get correctly. What are the other unfair trade practices besides dumping that are probably within your purview? And they may be complicated, but we can break it down to Kenyans so that they understand.
Yes, I will break it down simply. Within KETRA, or Kenya Trade Remedies Agency, we have 3 instruments which are available to us. Now, we have discussed dumping. So the other one is the effects of subsidies. Subsidies, they are normally given by governments. And they are referred to as the resources given by a government to an industry to advance a certain cost. Let's say the government subsidizes power.
Yes.
So it reduces the cost of producing
Production.
certain products.
Yes.
So subsidies, they are good. It is not bad. That's why they're allowable. Once a product is subsidized and is exported, let's take the same product that we are talking about, this water.
Yes.
That it is from Uganda.
Yes.
It is costing 10 shillings in Uganda. When it arrives here in Kenya, it's costing 8 shillings. So why it's costing 8 shillings? Maybe the government of Uganda has subsidized power.
Okay.
So they've given, so it confers an advantage on this producer in Kampala. But in Kenya here, we don't subsidize power.
Okay.
So it is disadvantage, such that it reduces the cost of production.
Yes.
And so by the time it arrives here, it has been able to sell this product at 8 shillings instead of 10 shillings because of that government subsidy. So what happens in the event of government subsidy?
Yes.
We also do the same investigation. What we want is, we advise our industry that once they have that kind of product, they complain to us, and now they indicate the nature of the problem. Maybe they suspect it's a subsidy, they tell us it's a subsidy, they suspect it's a subsidy, and it's a subsidy from this government, and then we now have to. So the effect of subsidy also is it converts that advantage.
Yeah.
So when it converts that advantage, it disadvantages the same like product in our country, which does not enjoy that governmental support. So what happens now is we do the same thing. We undertake investigation on what we call the countervailing duty investigation to establish the existence of a subsidy. Once we establish the existence of the subsidy, we need to establish the level. What is that level of that subsidy? And then we also establish the causal link between that subsidy which has been given this product in Uganda, and then the causal link between that subsidy and the injury to our domestic industry. So we have to establish existence of the subsidy, we establish the causal link to the injury, and then now once we have been able to establish those two, then we recommend now what we call a countervailing duty imposition. So what will our minister now will get that recommendation that yes, we have investigated this subsidy, true, the subsidy exists, the subsidy is so much, the margin of subsidy is this, we recommend a countervailing duty of so much so that it raises the price of this product to a fair level where they can be able to compete with this product. So that is one aspect of unfair trade, subsidies. But in effect, if it does not cause, if there is no material injury to our industry and that product has been subsidized and we get it, and let's say we don't have a similar like product, we can enjoy the low product.